everybody? Welcome back to the Renatus J.A.M. My name is Jay Stark, and joining me, as always, is my fearless co-host,
Mr. Matt Snyder.
Mr. Matt Snyder.
What's going on today, Jay?
What's going on today? That's funny. That's usually my line.
I know.
I was like, so confused me.
Yeah.
You got out of order on me.
Every once in a while, I like to mix it up.
There you go. Left turn right there.
Yep.
So here's the deal. We have the E3 Summit coming up. I'm sure you guys have heard of it, but October 23rd through the 25th, the registration is on the calendar now. Make sure you get registered and join us in Salt Lake for this incredible three-day conference where we're going to bring 30 presenters to the stage focused on real estate investing in today's market and on progressing your business and your opportunity inside of Renatus. Make sure not to miss it. Block out those dates now and be there. Join us. It's going to be incredible. On top of that, we actually have this week a new email that we're going to be sending out to everybody. This email is going to include a list of all of the links to the different videos which get created every single week. So Bob and I were talking and he said, yeah, my family thread, we send each other videos all the time, whether it's current events, whether it's inspirational thoughts or ideas, something that I just found funny. And I thought, oh, you know what? We have a ton of links inside of Renatus. We should create a family thread. So that's what we're going to call this email, the family thread. Look for it coming out this Friday. It'll have all of the links to the videos that we've produced, as well as an invitation to join the Invest Edge and all of that fun stuff. So that's going to be a new opportunity. Check your mailbox on Friday. Now, Mr. Snyder.
Yeah.
You have some information that you want to go over on today's Jam.
Yeah, just a little bit. I felt like it would be a good time to just reiterate and get in front of everybody how to talk about the money.
Oh, can we do a Jerry Maguire thing here? Show me the money.
Yeah, I haven't seen. What was?
Wow.
Yeah. What was that?
Jerry Maguire.
Is that a movie?
That's the movie.
Okay.
Tom Cruise. Show me the money.
Is this a baseball movie?
He is an agent for a football player.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, it was definitely a movie I didn't see.
All right.
Because when would this have come out?
Late 90s.
The late 90s. I was but a lad. So.
Oh man.
Yes.
Okay. Let's move on before I start to come over there, youngin.
Pointing out your age. I'm not supposed to do that. Huh?
Oh, you're welcome.
You're not
to point
that
out
much. You're not
I'm
that much
really
older than
not
I am.
that much older than you.
Yeah. What is it? Like 4 years, 5 years, something like that. So
yep.
It's not that much. But I've found that when you're talking about the late 90s, that can be all the difference. That's the difference between a teenager and a kid.
Exactly.
So,
I graduated high school in the late 90s, and you didn't. So.
And I did not. So, anyways. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the money a little bit.
Show me the money.
Help people understand how they can talk about the money. I mean, we have talked about it at nationals and other various places, but I feel like, we get a new audience regularly. People join Renatus and they don't know and they weren't at it.
And principles change, right? Laws change, different guidelines change. And so this is really just a refresher for everybody who's already heard it, or for a lot of us, it's going to be the first time that we've heard it, or the first time we've heard it in this context. So
yeah.
Tell us about the money.
I'll keep it simple because I feel like if I give a big, long thing, it's harder for people to remember. I want you to be able to walk away with just a few things that you can keep in the back of your head. The biggest thing is if you want to talk about the money with a prospect, you need to just show them the comp plan. People want to talk about how they've made $1 million with Renatus. With our $1 million earners, that's a big one, right? Because they have actually done it and they want to talk about it. But the best way to show somebody that is possible is to just walk them through the comp plan, because then they can see and they can do the math, they can figure it out, or you could even explain how much it would take, how many sales it would take for somebody to make that kind of money. But it's important not to give the impression to that person that everybody does that. An income disclosure statement should accompany this conversation, right, with somebody. If you walk them through the comp plan, give them the income disclosure statement. You're compliant, you're good. They need to know how the money is made, and that's typically when marketers can start to see it for themselves. They can go, okay, all right, I'm seeing the magic of the plan here and how many people I need to bring close sales on to actually make this work.
So you just kind of let people divine their own number and come up with their own understanding of, hey, if I want to make X dollars, then I need to bring Y people to events in order to close sales.
Exactly. And I would work it backwards even from there. If it were just me, and let's say I know I close 1 out of every 3 people I bring down to a Thursday night presentation. Well, then, and I need 1 a week or whatever. I would know I need to have 3 people in attendance at every Thursday night presentation to close a sale a week. And how many people does it take to get, to a Thursday night? Like
how many invitations does it take? How many guesses do you need to get 3 people to actually show up?
How many phone calls? I would work the numbers back. But yeah, the big thing I want people to remember is if you want to talk about the money, just show them the comp plan and have a income disclosure statement accompany that comp plan. Other than that, there's a few things that you should remember when it comes to talking about results that maybe somebody's had or you've had or whatever. You need to make sure that they are typical and substantiated. So those are the 2 requirements from regulators. They are looking for typicality. So in other words, $1 million result is not typical, right? What is typical? Well, typically, people can make anywhere from $3,000 to $12,000 per sale, right? That is a typical result on an Epix combo sale. So I would tell them that. I would show them how it works, though, how they move through the comp plan as well. But that's a typical result. Or you could even go pull up the income disclosure statement and show or talk about what the average results are or typical in each bracket. Because we have it bracketed out, top 1%, top 10%. That kind of stuff, and so like that's how I would present it because that's compliant. And other than that, just make sure that you are not guaranteeing anything. Make sure that you don't even imply guarantees. This is where it gets a little difficult. But so talk about the money, show them the comp plan. If you do talk about results, then make sure that they are typical and substantiated, and stay away from implied guarantees.
So how do you represent this kind of stuff in, let's say I want to do a social media post? Mm-hmm. How could I talk about the money in that?
Well, the easiest way to do it is like if we're talking about real estate and you want to share how many deals you've done, and so instead of I just made $70,000 on this deal, I would just talk about the deal itself or how many deals you've done. So show pictures, whatever. And, when it comes to real estate specifically, that's a tricky one because our marketers, most of them, have their own real estate company that does real estate completely independently from Renatus. And they want to talk about the deals that they've done because they want to raise funds for future deals. They want to find investors for future deals. And it's not like they're even coming down to a Renatus event to find those future. They're literally putting it out and they're running a real estate business. I have no control over that as far as compliance. That is a separate company that they are doing. And as long as they're not looping Renatus into it, I have no control over it. So I'm not going to talk about that. But if you are talking about Renatus and the education that you've learned, whatever, always talk about what you've learned how to do, right? So if you're not, if the result is what you've learned, or if you want to talk about the dollar amount that you walked away from, it's gotta have a disclaimer that comes with it. And if you don't know what disclaimer to put, contact me. I'll help you. I've got several, I would say, that are canned kind of disclaimers, but that I can give you. The best disclaimer is going to be the disclaimer that is tailored specifically to the post, though. So if you are talking about a fix and flip, then the disclaimer is talking about fix and flips. If you know what I mean, like I'm trying to think of an instance where, like, I'll give you an example. We have done a call where we featured the top 1% income earners on, for Renatus, the disclaimer specifically said that these are top 1% income, earners for Renatus,
Right.
and that the results are not typical, instead of just saying results not typical.
Right.
So, so if you're going to share results, make sure there's a disclaimer that.
So
goes with it.
the more specific the results you're sharing, the more specific the disclaimer needs to be.
I would say yes. Yeah.
So the more generalized you make your conversation, the more general the disclaimer can be, or you might not need one at all if you go general enough.
Yeah. If you're not talking numbers, in many cases you can go without the disclaimer. I would still weave it in. So it doesn't need to be, like in big bold letters, the disclaimer at the end. I would just weave it into the story that you're telling.
So if I say something like, 14 years ago, I got started with Renatus and it's changed my life. Mm-hmm. No disclaimer needed.
No, there's no disclaimer needed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just know that a lot of people get really caught up, and then if they ever get one of those little compliance love notes from you, they get all sorts of worried about it.
A love note.
Well, you reach out and you say, hey, you've had an infraction. This is not compliant.
Yep.
And a lot of times they may be like very old posts, something I did a couple of years ago.
Oh man, I've seen stuff like literally 10 or even 12 years ago that come up. So, and people are like, what? This doesn't matter. It's 12 years ago. Just, if it doesn't matter, then delete it, but the reason that we care is because it's still findable. It's still out there. And so regulators still care because it is searchable. It is, it can be dug up and people can see it. And, things have changed over 12 years or even the last 5 years as far as what is compliant. So, so even though maybe something wasn't necessarily compliant back then, it is now it's got to be changed. And
gotcha.
And
so
I wish
basically
that it wasn't that way, but it is. It's
social media posts are basically subject to the most modern laws and guidelines that are offered by any alphabet soup agency.
Yeah.
And regardless of when they were posted and what the guidelines were at the time, they are subject to today's guidelines.
Yeah, and to help you kind of understand a little bit what goes on behind that is people change. Yeah. Administrations change. So what changes now is how they implement the law. The law might not have changed. It's still written the way it's written.
Right.
But the way that they enforce it could change, because you're just dealing with people that are trying to solve a problem, and the problem being members of the public are being taken advantage of, right? And so if you have a company that's out there they're doing some loophole or whatever, or they're kind of getting around it, but they're hurting a lot of people, then regulators are going to want to go after that strategy or that
right.
thing
But they don't go with a scalpel; they go with a sledgehammer. They kind of lay down the gauntlet, and they're just like, "Hey, we're going to solve this problem for everybody." And even those companies that aren't doing it wrong, they're still going to be held accountable.
It's because they don't have the manpower to go through each and every, so in other words, it's going to be a blanket case rule, I should say. The policy will be, well, this is a blanket policy that we're going to make because we don't have the manpower to go through each and every situation where some might not apply.
Right.
So yeah, you're dealing with humans, which means that it's never going to be black and white necessarily. You're dealing with they're understaffed, or they don't have enough manpower to go through each case. And unfortunately, we're in an industry where there are shady actors. Like there are bad people that are trying to take advantage of people. And unfortunately, because we're in that same space, we can get kind of painted with that broad brush until we prove otherwise. So we try and stay as far away from the line as possible.
Right.
So as to not cause problems.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So give us those bullet points one more time.
So if you want to talk about the money, then just give them the comp plan, right? Comp plan is the way to show people what is what they can potentially make. If you do share results, make sure that they are typical and substantiated. And make sure you stay away from guarantees of any kind. So,
and when in doubt, disclaim it out.
I like that.
You're welcome.
When in doubt, disclaim it out. And if you have any questions or want help building a disclaimer, I'm happy to do it.
So how do people get a hold of you?
So just matt.snyder@myrenatus.com, or you can call the customer service line, but probably just email me, and that's probably the quickest, easiest way to get a hold of me. And my hope is to get back to you in 24 hours. I cannot say that always happens. I wish it did, but I am human and also have a lot of other. Yeah, well, I've got a lot of other things that are going on too. So
let's say that he's going to try to get back to you within one business day.
One business day is a pretty realistic expectation.
Pretty realistic. It may be up to 2, but yeah, 1 or 2 business days depending. Yeah. But here's the deal. When you work with Matt, you're going to find that he is an individual who's going to be framing everything to your success. He's going to be trying to empower you and help you to actually say what you want to say in the most compliant way possible. The reason why compliance is so important is because it protects all of us. It keeps the opportunity alive for every single one of us as we are compliant, as we are sharing, and as we are disclaiming and disclosing and making sure that everybody is really aware of who we are and what we're doing. That actually adds to our credibility and adds to the opportunity for every single person who wants to get involved. So make sure that as you talk about the money, 1, don't be scared of talking about the money. Just make sure you do it according to these guidelines that Matt's just given you. And 2, if you do have questions, concerns, or ideas, shoot them by Matt one time. He's going to look for every single way to empower you and to help you to do it in the most compliant way possible. So look forward to more of these trainings and opportunities coming to you on the J.A.M. Yeah. We're going to have a lot more training that we're going to be bringing to you over the next several weeks. This is just such a timely one, such a cool opportunity. We are right now moving into our selling season inside of Renatus where people really, they start getting back to school, they start getting back to work, they start, and we just see things start to escalate through the end of the year. So
big time. There's something magical that happens at the end of the summer when people stop taking vacations and then they get back to work and they're like, man, I hate my boss or I hate my job. And then they start looking for something else. And so that's when our marketers find them.
Yep. All right. Well, we will be back with you next Wednesday. I can't say Wednesday. We'll be back with you next week. So glad that you were able to join us. Matt, this has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you for what you shared. And don't forget, the reason why Renatus rocks is because of the people who are associated with us. That is Mr. Matt Snyder. That's Aaron Peterson behind the magic curtain, and every single one of you. Thanks for being with us. Renatus rocks.